Hello, Soundhole Sniffers. My name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And today is Monday, January the 24th. Hope everyone's doing really well. We had some Martin news last week, and both myself and Maury have already spoken about it. But today we're going to argue about it. It's going to be really awesome. Let's welcome him here. It's Maury Rich. How you doing, Maury?
I'm in an arguing mood. This is going to be great.
I was going to use the snap cam where I'm the troll and you're the Martin guitar, and I'd say all the troll comments to you and you answer them all.
Well, I hope it's not too late to do that. I think that would be good.
Snap cam, unfortunately, everyone will be very disappointed. The snap cam app is not working right now for me. So there's no guitar head this week. There's no troll head this week. That would have been a fun way to do it. In fact, we should do that in the future. We should use more animations in our show. I think people would like it. Make it more entertaining. Probably go really well on TikTok as well, wouldn't it? All right, let's say hi to our friends, and then we'll get into the Martin SC-13E, which is now in stock. Can you believe it? Maury's actually got these in stock, but there's also the new ones that we're going to dissect together with our friends in the chat as well, and see which ones we think are interesting and which ones are not. Or maybe they all are. We'll find out. Jim is here. A very good afternoon from Vermont. I think I would go with the SC-13E Special Natural, but I don't gig, so the pickup would be a waste of money. Jim, we're going to get right onto that, so don't worry. I know you're dying to discuss this with us. A very good afternoon from Vermont. David Foster's here. I tried one, and for the price, it was quite good. So SC-13E. I still haven't really played one apart from at Summer NAMM and Winter NAMM. There's a video online of me playing it at Summer NAMM that Maury shot. Excuse the planes are flying today. I haven't really played it in a regular room, which I think is a fairer judgment. Although the Authentics sounded good even at Summer NAMM. So maybe that's not playing it. Maybe that's not true because it sounded good there too. David Foster says, hi Patsy. Here's some ads from Aaron Short Music. Please get your Soundhole Sniffer merchandise at that address. And here's my Buy Me a Coffee link. Actually, I've been off the coffee for a while. I should change that to Buy Me a Soundhole or something. Marco's here. Oh, it's cold and in Macedonia. Hi, Marco. Good to see you here. Okay, Kooky, good to see you. Bonjour. Is the chat the same in both channels? So this is the way it works. We're restreaming on both of our channels. The chat isn't the same. If you're on Maury's channel, you think you see a different chat to if you're on my channel. But as I'm flashing all the comments up on the screen anyway, you should stay in sync with what's going on. So it doesn't really matter where you are. But the other thing you could do is open up two browsers, of course, and then mute one of them, and then you can see both chats. So, like I said, you can also watch the replay on YouTube of this later on tonight and watch it in double speed and save an hour of your time. But I shouldn't advertise that either. Chalerism says, greetings from sunny North Georgia. I have a question about the special SC-13E. Are the tuners Graphtec? Well, I think someone said that they were in your stream, Maury. Is that true?
They should be the Graphtec skeletons. Yeah, the skeleton ratio tuners, yes.
Okay. David Foster, I'm in Seymour, Connecticut. Lewis, ready for this? We back, baby. Let's go. Hi, Aaron. Gayot. Okay. Calm down, Lewis. I think you mean goat. Okay. Greatest of all time. Unless G-A-O-T means something else. Try and figure that out by the end of the show. Rosanna's here. Great to see you, Rosanna. I hope you have the time of your life today. Lewis says, notification gang checking in. Stay warm, everybody. My best friend, Rosanna, is it? Wow. When did you two become best friends? Vic G. Hi, Maury and Aaron and everyone tuning in. Good to see you, Vic. Jack, good to see you, Jack. Happy Monday, all. Phil Watson, I was just thinking about you the other day. It's been such a long time. How you doing, my friend? Yeah. Great to see you here.
What's up?
Jim says I've got both screens going. That's the best way to do it. That's the fairest way to do it. I might do a poll later too, so that'll be on my channel. So yeah, if you have both windows open, that would be great. Hi everyone. I tried an SC-13E at my local dealer on Saturday. Kooky, what I love about you when you're here is you do not hold back. Do you like it or not? Let me know. Give me the full kooky answer. Rosanna K says, hi, Lewis. Jim says, and what did they say? Sorry. I miss Guitar Head, says Lisa. Well, I'll try again. I'll try. I was going to do the troll. There's a troll head. Like on the internet, you get the black and white troll cartoon face. I was going to do that.
Sure.
So that might appear next week. I do have a great viewer's comment from Bunny Barnes, another person from the Tommy Emmanuel clan.
Ooh.
So there's no Guitar Head this week anyway. But if there's not a viewer's comment next week, there may be a Guitar Head. So we'll see. Old says hi to Aaron, Maury, and everybody. Kooky says Aaron seems to see us. Oh yeah, sorry. On my screen, I see everything because I'm using Ecamm Live. I see all the comments, and what I'm doing is I'm bringing them all on the screen, so you'll stay in sync anyway. So that's fine. Lee says hi everyone, and chat working again. He's saving up to buy that special SC-13. Lisa says hi all. Lee says David might always be first, but I was last on Aaron's dream last night. Okay, this is getting weird now. I'm going to change the subject. I
hope he meant stream.
He does mean that because thanks everyone for watching me yesterday. It was a fun time, and that's what happened. Lee was the last to leave, and he said that. Do be careful when you type these days on these phones, where you can really get yourself into a lot of trouble. I should know. We won't talk about that. A custom SC-13E authentic for Aaron Short. Oh, hi, Denny B. Thanks for subscribing. That's awesome. A custom SC-13E for authentic for Aaron. Since the SC-13E is only a couple of years old, I guess you consider it an authentic. That's right. The guitar Maury has is an SC-13E authentic. There we go. David Belch is laughing. Okay, he meant stream. It's a good thing I didn't say, how do you know that, Lee? How do you know that you were in my dreams last night? That would be really awkward, wouldn't it?
Let's talk about Aaron's dream journal before we get into this guitar.
Oh, you don't want to hear about that. I've not had any dreams lately, actually. My dreams happen when I'm on the phone browsing guitar stores late at night. So I don't have real dreams anymore. Aaron sees all. No, that's scary. Okay. Kooky, am I going to give your opinion before we even talk about it? Okay, why not? It's just Kooky's opinion. I think it's too bright. Martin Spy's going on Taylor territory with that. I understand, but I prefer regular Martins. The neck is very playable along the neck, except in the lower position as the MLO. One thing I'll say about that is, don't forget, just playing devil's advocate here, don't forget the SC-13E has 11s on it, and most Martins you play are going to have 12s or 13s on them. And I think that does make a big difference. It makes a big difference with my electric guitars, for sure. So do bear that in mind. Whatever you do, like today I wanted to do a quick comparison of Maury's OM28 with this guitar, just so we have something to compare it to that we know, that we're familiar with. But again, you have to remember that the SC is going to have 11s on and Maury's guitar is going to have 12s on. That is quite unfair, I think, in my opinion. So I'm not trying to be a Martin shill. I do think that you should take that into consideration. Rosanna is laughing. Dukes of Troy, good to see you here. Welcome. Hey guys, why would I want a scalloped versus a non-scalloped brace guitar, and what bracing is in the SC-13E? So what the SC-13E is scalloped, right, Maury?
Well, it's going to have its own proprietary. That's easy for me to
Look
say.
at big words today.
Proprietary bracing. Spoon and I were talking about this, and I let him say that word. It's really it's not the same on each side. Like the treble side gets a different treatment than the bass side does, and the whole reasoning for this is this guitar is really built to make sure it does not feed back at really loud stage volumes. So going back to Kooky's message a minute ago, I bit my tongue and I was going to speak up and say something, but it comes into it's more appropriate to say it now to this comment. This is braced so that it will not feed back, and if you really take that to a certain extent, the guitar does not vibrate as freely as it would if it was scalloped. So if you want to compare this to something else, it really is meant to be plugged in. But why would you want a scallop brace guitar versus non-scalloped? The fastest answer I could give you that won't take too much time, think of scallop bracing as a big round subwoofer surround sound type thing where it's just all enveloping and it's all around you. And non-scallop bracing is more focused and it's more laser beam, so mid-range things jump out of the guitar better. So if you want to cut and you want the notes to just jump out of the sound all going forward, that's non-scallop bracing. And if you want to feel like the whole guitar is around you and have a lot of subwoofer bass presence, that's scallop bracing in a quick answer.
Yes, and we both have videos comparing scalloped to non-scalloped guitars on our channels too, so check those out. I agree. I like the non-scallop more than I thought I would, because it has that presence and that fullness and that punch. But at the same time, I see why most guitars from Martin are scalloped, because you get that instant kind of wow factor of that big open sound. And I think most people are going to prefer that. So having played both myself, I think unless you definitely know you want non-scalloped, I would go for scalloped. That's my opinion. It's also easy.
The word open. That's a great way to say it. Open.
Yeah, it's also it's so much better when I've played the guitars in here for a while, because I really get a sense of these things, and you know, I can see that are definitely players that will like the non-scallop, like bluegrass, where you want that real like direct full tone. But then I think most people that fingerpick and strum, I can see why most guitars have the scallop bracing. It's very pretty and open, and yeah, it's just nice. So it's also easier to shop for a scallop guitar because there's only a few non-scallop guitars, right? It's the D28 and the D35, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, the reimagining in 2018 changed a lot of things. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and I can see. My point is, I can see why, because I think most people would gravitate towards the scalloped. Cookies. Well, I want to talk about that pickup, but we'll do that later on, because I don't understand this whole thing of it's braced and made to not feed back. I don't really. I mean, has anyone ever tested this? I can't believe this is actually real. Have you?
Martin has it. You know, Martin's the whole idea to have the offset body. The fact that if you could picture when you're building a studio, they always say don't make your studio, you know, exact the same dimension walls because of modes and the way things are going to bounce. The fact that this is asymmetrical, it's the bracing and the body asymmetrical design of this is made to cancel feedback and to be very resistant. I don't know if it's fair to say that other guitars are so feedback prone that they had to do this, but that's part of the idea behind this.
But it's also an empty box, and I don't know. Have you done that test yourself, Maury? Have you plugged that guitar in by a speaker and held it there to see how resistant it is?
No, not. I mean, I've done some setups here where once the setup is done, we have to make sure that the pickup works correctly. And one important part of that is to make sure every string works correctly. So I've had, I don't know if I told you a couple of summers ago, my Bose Tower, it didn't break, but it would no longer come out of the bass. So long story short, I brought that into my recording studio here at the store. So my store where I do these videos and where I'm sitting now has a Bose Tower that belongs in a restaurant. So I have a lot of sound down here that doesn't have to be as loud as it should. And when I do my pickup tests, you know, I don't do it for that reason, but I've had this guitar very loud. If you could picture when you're working on a pickup and you want to play each string one at a time, when you want to make sure it's coming through the PA system has to be a lot louder than the guitar that's in your lap or right on your desk. So I've had this really loud incidentally, but not for a test of that reason.
I'd like to test that myself one day, because I feel like I've got two thoughts on that. One is that it's an undersaddle pickup, which are pretty feedback resistant anyway. And the second thought is that depending where I stand at my show, I don't really have a problem with feedback unless I'm in a certain venue, standing in a certain position. So I'd like to do a test where, I mean, I guess the ultimate test is just to hold a couple of guitars up to a speaker to see when they start to go. That's the most obvious test I can think of. But yeah, as a pickup fanatic, I find that an interesting concept. It makes sense what you said about the body shape, but I imagine it will still feed back if you get loud enough, because it's, like I said, it's an empty box. Also, depending what pickup is in there. So I wonder if they do release another version with a pickup with a mic or a body sensor, if they'll still say that, because it'll be a different situation than an undersaddle pickup. You know what I mean?
The mic and the body sensor is gonna make all that argument go out the window. And you might remember seeing Craig Thatcher playing these at the NAMM show. This is also designed, and I don't know that I would ever do it, but I shouldn't speak until I try it. You can actually go to a gig with your Strat, unplug your Strat from your electric setup, plug this in instead. In that specific situation, I'm completely sure this guitar is going to need to be feedback resistant if you have overdrive. And if, you know, I've seen a local band around here did some Eric Johnson stuff at an outdoor gig where they had this, and he was playing Cliffs of Dover, and it sounded like Eric Johnson's Strat and Tube Screamer.
Really?
It was dirt, you know, and it was like it worked. But now when I say that, this is how many streams have you and I done. I've never, ever talked about how I'm looking forward to playing my Martin through overdrive pedals and my Mesa Boogie amp. But that only shows my ignorance. I don't know from experience, so I don't
know why you haven't done this. Like this is you're doing TikTok now. This is the TikTok video. Shredding on the SC-13E.
Is it really?
Of course it is. Of course it is. It makes total sense. No, I think they're trying to go for a younger market and people that play electric guitars. So they want to say to them, hey, you can switch from your electric to this, and you can even plug it into your amp. I personally don't think it's going to sound that great myself, because I've done that before with other guitars, and you know, it's just you've got the acoustic strings and you've got the acoustic pickup and everything, and you could block the sound hole, which I've been doing a lot lately if I really have feedback issues. I don't know. I want to say a disclaimer. I haven't really spent time with it, so I don't really. Anything I say today is just off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, I would like to know how feedback resistant it is compared to another guitar with a Fishman undersell or pickup. That's all. So I'm not gonna go too long on stuff when I haven't tried it. Kookie says, I would like a standard Martin with this neck joint and mod V neck. Well, exactly. That's what happened last week. So last week, someone posted an email from Martin saying something big is coming, and had a picture of a guitar, and I looked at it and I thought, that's the SC body. So, of course, the first thing I thought was, this is the 28 series. I know Spoon says they won't call it a 28, but I actually just realized that what the name means. I thought SC-13 meant the body shape, cutaway, and 13 fret to the body, but it doesn't. It means the 13 series. It's just a coincidence. So this is a 13 series guitar. So I thought, here comes the 28. Yeah. And I got really,
13,
really excited.
So you don't confuse yourself. 13 is the trim in the Road series. So Road series is 10, 11, 12, 13. That's why they now have an SC-13 and an SC-10. So 13 is how high up you are in the series called Road. But yeah, if they make, and that's the irony. Somebody just mentioned they want to see this with a dovetail neck joint. Let me not get myself in trouble. That last question you just wrote or read out, did they want a dovetail neck joint or a modified V-neck? What did that say?
Kookie wants this neck joint and the mod V-neck. He's all into the V-necks now. I don't think they'll do that. That's too traditional on a modern thing.
Here's the irony, and Spoon talks to this point. You can't have a standard series Martin guitar with this neck joint. The standard series Martin guitar dovetail neck joint makes that a standard series guitar. So I think what you probably mean is everything else from a standard series attached to this idea.
Yes.
But the catch is you couldn't call it 28 and you couldn't call it standard. Or maybe
interesting. So we don't know what they would call it. They would call it something like SC Deluxe or SC Super or something, right? Yeah, they can't use the 28. But if I say SC-28, I mean the OM-28, but in this guitar, basically. Or like the one they made for John Mayer, right? That was awesome.
Let's be honest. The minute that the SC-13E came out, didn't all of us just get together that afternoon and say, great, where's the 28? Like, I think it was immediate. Like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Do it our way. So it's not,
I think Martin snobs like myself and maybe some people in the chat, who I won't name, may have thought that straight away. But I think also a lot of people thought, great, this is affordable. And I think that's what Martin are going for. You see, it's interesting with guitars because some companies release the high-end guitar. Okay, like let's take PRS Silver Sky. They released the guitar that's 2,500-ish. I mean, it was give or take when they released it. Right now it's 2,650. And then after 3 years, they then released the SE model, which is 850. Now with Martin, they're releasing the SC-13 and now some special editions and the 10, and then they will eventually release the 28 style, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's the same marketing, but the other way around, and all companies do this with different products. Like Line 6, they released the Helix floor, and then for years they're releasing like the HX Effects, the HX Stomp, the Pod Go. They're all spin-offs of that same flagship. But Martin are going with the entrance guitar. Now I think that's because they think they'll sell. They want to get them out there. They want people to buy them. They want people to get used to them. And then I think they'll hit us with the higher models that are over $3,000. That's what I think is going to happen. And then if you can imagine it, if I played this like Kooky did, and I'm like, well, I love everything about it, but I really want the 28 version, I'm going to order one as soon as they're released, right?
And I'm not going to speak out of turn because I'm not sure. I've only seen a couple of these prototypes. What if, and I don't want to get Kooky upset, but I'll probably make you upset at the same time. What if the 28 comes out, and because of the design bracing and the way this guitar is asymmetric, and because they want it to be feedback resistant, what if that sounds thin compared to what you want? Like if you look at an OM28 in the standard series, the OM28 Modern Deluxe or OM Jam, what if?
Yeah.
Just listen to me for a second. What if the SC-28 isn't so much more impressive than this for those people? Then they've dedicated Nazareth R&D and Nazareth tooling to make this neck joint, and they could possibly be underwhelming. And that's terrible for me to think, but I have to think about it out loud. No.
Oh, no, I want you to. And I agree. I thought about that myself. There's no guarantee. I mean, it's likely that the 28 version will be better, whatever that is, but there's no guarantee. Like, you might think, well, actually, that SC... No, I don't. Are you saying that because you got them in stock, Maury?
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. So there is always that risk. We don't know what the next one will be like, right? We don't know what it's going to be. So you're right. That's why I might be really disappointed if I wait another 3 years and then that comes out and I don't really like it. So that could be a backfiring thing as well.
Because I have an idea that some people might like that a lot, but not more than their 28. And if pressed, I bet you're going to have a lot of people who typically buy OM28s and OM42s, and they're going to look at this guitar in the standard equivalent, whatever would be the correct way to say it. If this doesn't make you forget about your standard series that you're comparing it to, it's not right for me to say why even try it, but I'm not surprised that they're in the Road series. And I have to bet that a lot of the marketing guys at Martin tried to go and see what are we really selling a lot of to the demographic that's buying stage guitars. Maybe the GPCs and the Road series are really, really good sellers, and maybe they have a real good reason to think this is where to put this guitar. Maybe not just to start with, but that's where it should stay.
But we know there are higher end versions because John Mayer has one. So they're around, but we just no one's actually A/B'd them yet. And it might even be like the Silver Sky, like the Silver Sky SE versus the American-made one. They're really similar. And some of the things that are different are more the spec that John Mayer wanted, that you might not even want as a customer.
Oh.
And when you're thinking 850 versus 2650, so you could get that as well. Like they could bring out the new version, and we could A/B them, and I could A/B them in person, and I could say, well, actually, I'll go with the SC-13. So I was just kidding before. I totally agree with you. It's just, of course, as a Martin snob, I wish they were here now so I could do those comparisons and see what they actually do with them. The other thing is I'm kind of hoping they do some new pickup system, like brand new pickup system in that version. Because we need to talk today about the pickup being changed as well. So that I thought the Fishman pickup was really integrated into this guitar, and the new ones they've been offered with the Baggs Element, right, under saddle. So they're not fully committed to that. They're not. My point is, that's not like this guitar is always going to have a Fishman system. They're open to other ideas. As Chris Martin said on the interview I did with him, we have a long-term relationship with Fishman, but we see other people as well. Love that.
That's good.
It was. So then I was like, okay, here we go. Here come all the new pickup systems, and I'm still waiting for them.
They see one other person. They don't see other people. They see Lloyd.
Yeah, they're classy. They're a classy company. But, gee, I guess I'm a traditionalist because I still find the offset S-shaped body unusual, so much that I haven't bought one yet. But I think, again, Vic, that's what they're doing. They need to get people used to this guitar. Because when you first release something like this, especially when you're a traditional company like Martin, it's such a shock to some people. And there'll be some Martin customers that never buy these, of course. And that's fine.
Right.
I'm all for companies doing their authentic guitars like Martin do, their standard series for most people, and then this line, which is like something new and interesting. But I want all companies to do that. So Fender do that as well, right? They have their custom shop age strats. They have their professional series strats with humbuckers and things for the masses. And then they have the Acoustasonic, which is a way out there thing, which you either love or hate. So all companies are doing this, and it makes sense that they all do it to cover the whole market. But the interesting thing is down the line, if you end up buying one, Vic, because you see it so much and you get so into it. We'll see. Scalloped is more responsive. Unscalloped is great for people who dig in hard. Good. I have a feeling the micarta nut and back and side veneer, as well as the metal assisted neck joint, add up to make the Taylor sound Kooky hears. What is the Taylor sound though, Kooky? That's the question. Do elaborate. And what are you basing it on? Are you basing it on every Taylor guitar or just one series of guitar? That's the other thing.
Great question. Yeah.
Because I've played a couple of Taylors that I didn't like. I've played a couple of ones that I did like. Same with Martin, to be fair. Old says, I had one for a while and kind of regret trading it in. Really love the playability. I think that's what the main thing is with these guitars, right? The playability. The 11s, the low action, the simple adjustments. We spoke about neck resets before. This won't need a neck reset because you can do it, you can have someone do it very quickly because of the design. This is definitely a modern take. David Belcher says, okay, David has one, he told me. Mine doesn't feed back, and I play in front of a very loud drummer as well. That's good to know. But David, the thing about that is, it's so, and I'm not being difficult or whatever the word is. This whole feedback thing is so dependent on how loud you play and where you play, and like I tend to never have feedback issues, but there's certain rooms where they like put you in a corner or something, and that's where the feedback builds up. Or especially if you have like a monitor in front of you, and again, depending how loud that monitor is, that's the thing. So, but it's good to know. It's good to know it's your experience. I guess I could ask you, David, did you have feedback issues with your previous guitar? That'd be a good question. Kooky says, thanks, Maury. I never thought of that, but it is so true. I thought nearly the same about forward shifted and standard. Somehow I feel standard X-braced is more directive than forward braced. Symmetrical cavities have a much more responsive resonant frequency than non-symmetrical. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's the science of it right there. Thank you, Jack. I guess adding an X-brace to the back also kill a lot of the back resonances too. So how do they do that, though, without affecting the tone? That's the question I have.
I don't think they did. I think they have affected the tone, and I think that's part of the, let's be really honest, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and this is going to show that Aaron and I don't really pre-prepare for this show. We don't ask each other about the answers before we say them to you. Has anybody ever played an SC-13 and thought, that sounds like an OM28, that sounds like an OMJ? I don't think anybody has ever played this and said the words fat or really big. I think playability always comes up, and the word thin. I don't think Martin did brace the top and the back without changing the tone. I think this tone is very polarizing.
Well, they say it still sounds like a Martin in their advertising. So, what is the sound of a Martin that they're referring to?
Well, I think there's still some throaty, healthy enough low mid range that keeps it from being anemic, or and this is me talking from third-hand experience from other people. A lot of my customers who do own Taylors that want to come and buy a Martin have said their Taylor sounds thin, a little bit plain, a little bit boring. I think the complexity in the low mid-range and the bassiest part of this voice, there still is some bass. I think that's the Martin sound that people are going to say. Dick Boak is famous for saying, it's easy to build a guitar with treble. It's hard to get bass out of it. I just think this doesn't... I don't think the feedback I've seen from customers and from people on forums has ever tried to convince another player this guitar has a fat, full sound.
Compared to other brands. Well, now I want to go down to Manhattan and compare that to a Taylor. Okay.
I don't know.
I think they might do an SC-16E. That series seems to have a lot of one-offs.
That's a great idea. That's
Make
very
it part of the
logical,
16
honestly.
series. But they threw a spanner in the works here because they made that John Mayer edition. Why didn't they release that edition and offer to put your own name in it? I would have bought one on the spot.
I was told that was a gift for John. That wasn't something you're going to buy later. That was but the nice people at Martin built it for him. I don't know anything about the why or when.
I know it's not. I know it's a one-off, but I'm just saying they could have done a run of 150 and whoever buys it has the option of having their name on the fretboard, not John Mayer on the fretboard.
Well, agreed.
That's the dream. That's the dream we were talking about earlier.
That's the dream that Lee was in earlier.
Yeah. He was putting my name on the fretboard, and then he flipped the guitar over, and he'd written it with a Sharpie, and that was the nightmare that began.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Trellerism. I just knew a new one would be all solid wood. I don't want the feedback resistance. Oh, I don't want the feedback resistance or asymmetrical shape. Martin does dread, strip low OM with both dovetail and simple neck joint. I like the idea of easy to reset neck joint. Well, I think everyone does. I think we had that conversation last week, didn't we, about when you need to get a neck reset. So that's obviously something they're considering as well. Some guitar buyers want to buy a guitar, but they're not going to have to think about that happening. And that's what this assists. So that makes me wonder, will they ever put this neck joint on other Martins eventually, really down the road?
You can get this playability, but give away the asymmetrical shape. Not like I'm saying, or was it maybe people want this? Well, I don't know what people want, but I could see the point of maybe there's something that attracts people to this neck and playability, but they don't need the S and they don't need the feedback resistance like was just mentioned. That's a really interesting point.
That's interesting. So
we're tackling the tough subjects here.
Yeah, the adjustable neck on an OM42, like a hybrid. I mean, I'm sure one day that's going to happen, but not for a long time. But I think if people love the guitars, and like I said, they're planting seeds at the moment. They're saying, hey, what do you think of this? You know, buy one of these, check this out. And then over time, that will dictate what happens with the market, I think. I'll be okay with a high saddle new guitar as they used to do back in the days. Well, you're a traditionalist, Kooky. Jim says, for those that play in alternate open tunings, the Graphtec ratio tuners might be an advantage from Graphtec. With ratio, one turn is about one tone change on all strings, making tuning, retuning, and open tunings easier, quicker, and more intuitive. Let's talk about the tuners then. So the tuners on the new models are the skeleton tuners. Now, I have experience with these because I bought their used GPC Aura a few months ago, and that had those tuners on it. So I can tell you my review of them right now. I hadn't thought about what Jim just put there. I think that's really great if you do play in open tunings. I don't play in open tunings that often. Maybe I should do it more often. But the downside for me with those tuners is you have to turn them more. So when you're restringing the guitar, it takes quite a while to put the string on. All right, so that's either a good thing or a bad thing. Like if like you said, if you're doing different tunings and you want that advantage of that high ratio and getting to, and accuracy, that's great. If you're like me and want to throw a set of strings on I said last week I don't restring often, but let's say we restring every Sunday and we want to just get them on there, use the peg winder and play in standard. I don't see that as an advantage. I think I'd rather have the vintage tuners on there that you've got on this guitar, actually. And once again, I always ask, is that a straight swap? We don't usually know because tuners are all slightly different. I'm guessing you can probably switch them. And I'm also guessing they put those on there to make them, well, it's called the special edition. And of course, that adds more perceived value to the guitar. But for me, I think I'd rather have the vintage tuners, personally. What would you rather have, Maury?
It's funny, when I was doing a setup earlier on a custom guitar before it shipped, and I was tuning it up because I had to put a different set of strings on, and that made me immediately remember about, those skeleton tuners are going to take a lot longer to turn. Once I get started, I don't necessarily have any real preference, except my 1998 guitar. I can't stand my tuners. They're so tight and they're so finicky, and as soon as I go and play that and I'm in tune, I forget that I hate them. It's when I have to change strings that I remember. So I own a music store, and I've had a guitar here since '98, and I still have not gone through the trouble of changing those tuners out. So from my experience, I have to tell you, I'm not one of those guys that really thinks about tuners, and I should. But I've really, I can't remember the last time I've seen a brand new Martin guitar across any line, any series that had problems. I like the skeleton knobs enough, but I just kind of forget about tuners when I'm not playing.
Yeah, I don't think I would bother to change them, but I think it's always good to know if you can. Like, I wish all tuners used the same holes so you can change them, even though a lot of people won't bother to do it. That would be a cool thing. So you have the option down the line. Yeah, I don't mind them. I think they go with the look of the new guitar, but in fact, what I should do at this point really is bring a picture up on the screen. me go to martin.com. I'm sure they have pictures there already. I think they go with the look, and the look is interesting because let me share this screen here so we can both see it. 1 second. I don't want to click on that guitar head by mistake. Oh, it's not working, so that's fine. Oh, nice. We're at Martin right now. I think the... I'm blocking the guitar. It's completely useless. I think the tuners go... Let me... Hang on. Let me see if I've done the picture. Okay. Now you're blocking... I think the new tuners go well with the aesthetic. And what did I say last week about sunburst guitars? I said I don't like the aggressive sunburst that Martin used. What happens this week? Yep. A new burst. Did I know this was coming? No, I didn't. So just give me a few seconds to show off there. I like the new burst. It's a bit like a cross between a sunburst and an amber tone. I don't know in person if it'll be a bit darker. I'd like to see that sunburst a little bit darker, but I don't know. I haven't seen it in person. I don't know if there'll be any variation. But it's got that look that I mentioned last week where it's got the more gradual fade. And I like that. It looks like a very classy guitar. And it's interesting that they've taken the blue off and they've made the dots empty. And I think that empty dot on the fretboard goes well with the tuners having the holes in them, the skeleton tuners. And also skeleton tuners are lighter, which is never a bad thing. Yeah, it is what it is. They have advantages, those tuners, and I mean, is there a disadvantage of having to spend a few more seconds winding the string? You might think so if you're comparing that to another guitar. If you haven't got another guitar, you might not even notice it. So, and like I said, I think it adds value to that as well. It's a special edition. I think a special edition would have something like that. So it makes sense. Let's talk about the pickup then. They do say, don't they, it's the upgraded pickup system. And people online are saying it's not much of an upgrade. And I think I agree. I like Fishman and LR Baggs both equally. I mean, as people. So and as yeah, but as a pickup, what pickups in the SC-13E right now?
The MXT.
MXT, but it's a Sonocore, right? In the undersaddle.
Oh, it's their braided undersaddle element, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a Sonocore. So, I think that's what they call it. So,
Sonotone, maybe?
Sonotone, that's right. But I think Sonocore is the strip, isn't it? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But that pickup, and then the LR Baggs one is the Element, which is basically what's in an Anthem. And the Anthem has the mic as well. So I don't know if I've ever directly compared the two. But if I ever had a guitar that had the Element, I would switch it out for an Anthem anyway, because they've already got a lot of the stuff in there. It's quite an easy upgrade. Of course, it's another expense to do it. I did that. I reviewed a guitar for Loudon, the Ed Sheeran one, just after the last NAMM show I went to. And that was a massive upgrade when I did that. It was a really simple upgrade. I did it myself, and it was a big difference. But of course, that is going to add to the cost. My biggest thing with the special editions is I wish they'd put in an Anthem SL. And I think the way the bracing is on these, you've got to be careful how you do it. It's not as straightforward as with other guitars, but I know people have put them into these guitars. So it's something that Martin would have had to have tried out to see how it would work, how it would sound and everything else. But for me, I don't know, like I don't think it's much of an upgrade pickup wise. I don't know. Have you sold any SC-13Es where you've changed the pickup, Maury?
No, I've had a couple of people ask me about it, but they never went through with it. And brings me to another subject that I dare bring up with you and Kooky here. Are a lot of these customers who are slightly unhappy with the SC-13E going to just put it through an IR or put it through we talked about this 2 weeks ago and last week, an LR Baggs voice print DI or something that might not even be specifically really revolutionary, but can you dress up this sound? I know you can with an EQ or a preamp that's going to make you half as happy and not fool with the inside at all.
Well, I just think as someone that's looking at the specs, like I think the Gold Plus, I said last week the Gold Plus is a great system. I wish they had a Gold Plus in them, just a basic Gold Plus undersaddle pickup, and not the Sonotone, the Sonocore, the soft one myself. And then I probably would get there with IR. IR doesn't fix everything necessarily. Like the voice print DI, in my experience, does not work that well with an undersaddle. Like it can't remove that quackiness. It just adds more air to it. Kookie's thing might do, but how many people have got Kookie around to make an IR? So, I mean, ultimately, I'd like to see a new system, which is just next level, but that's probably not going to come until a higher, more expensive model. So I don't know why they went with bags on this one. Is it to like keep both companies like happy? Like, hey, you can have this one. I really thought the Fishman was going to be synonymous with this model. Like, hey, like the Retro series. This is Fishman.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised to see they did that.
I think to answer your question, part of it certainly is, throwing LR bags a bone. I don't think it should be looked on as problematic or as something you shouldn't do. I'm sure if Martin's going to make this many guitars this year and they're going to invite some of them to have LR bags in them, I think that's something that makes some sense, both in politics and I'm sure they have a customer base that wants to see LR bag stuff there. So
right,
it's probably a matter of why not. And if I could say something really off the record that no one at Martin would ever probably admit, maybe they just have a much easier time getting the LR bags element right now with the way supplies are, and they just
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, maybe there are other choices. Maybe there are other choices from bags that they would go with, but the element they just have enough of. So I don't mean to say that as if it's like a negative thing, but if Martin's going to introduce a guitar 3 or 4 months ago and it finally comes to fruition and NAMM comes around and then somebody at Martin says, oh no, we can't get 2,500 of these in time, do you shelf the guitar or do you just change it up a little bit? I have to wonder, because it seems kind of out of left field that it's the element to me.
I think you're right. It's similar to the Fishman version, and maybe Fishman can't source enough of them right now, and they had to go another. We don't know. This is all speculation. But for me, the Sunburst Special looks awesome. It's $2,000. For me, if that had the Anthem SL or similar in it, I would have been really excited. But the Anthem, what's it called? Element. For me, again, I mean, look, I review pickups. I'm a complete pickup snob. I probably wouldn't want to take that out and gig with the Element, okay? It's just the truth. I would want to put an Anthem in there. That's going to cost me $200 to do that. If it's possible to do it all, I need to try it. If it is possible, because of the bracing, because you've got to stick the mic inside. If it is possible, here's my question, Maury. Should I get the $2,000 special and upgrade the pickup, which will get me to around 20, well, actually, yeah, maybe let's say $2,300 at that point? Is it not worth waiting to see if there is a new version? I mean, I imagine a 28 style version would not ship with these pickups. It's going to have, well, we don't know, do we? So it's a bit like, do you live now or do you wait? It's a bit like with everything now. It's like an Apple computer. Do I buy this one or wait for the next one? It might be better.
That's what you're making me think of is, which time do you recognize you're going to buy that computer that means you don't have to buy another one after that? That's never, ever going to happen. So the irony is, if there's some truth to, and this is a bunch of ifs, I'm not hiding some information. I'm a dealer, and I'm not trying to sound like I might know what I'm talking about. And then the big reveal later is, look how smart I looked. I don't know. But if there's truth to making these very feedback resistant, and you're not seeing the Fishman Enhance, you're not seeing the Element with paired up with the Anthem and the True Mic. If they don't want to make this guitar plugged in, have resonance and body sounds and mics, you could see a 28 variant, later that still deliberately stays away from anything but undersaddle.
Yeah.
What if you would get check this out? What if you would get a new 28 version and it has a better pickup than the Element and then the MXT, but what if it's still a single source UST?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because their marketing of super feedback resistant will go out the window once you put a microphone in there and you plug it into a Fender Mesa amp. It's going to squeal.
Exactly.
And that's just physics, right? Okay, so it's a bit deeper than that. But there's nothing to stop someone like me doing that. I could buy one of these and upgrade the pickup for my purposes. I really love the Anthem lately, so I could do that.
Okay.
And I might, yeah.
if that's true, then I think Martin is smart to put the least expensive stuff in this.
Right.
Just like bridge pins, people are always go, "Why did I get plastic bridge pins?"
Right.
I really think that Martin, they think you might want to change them, but they have no idea what you want to change them to. So
Okay.
put a
But
$15
time
part
out.
in
Time
there.
out. Just kidding.
Sorry, but I can't remember my good ideas that
kidding.
long, and if I don't want to spurt
No,
them out, but,
I agree with you.
know.
I just want to say this though. There's guitars that are much cheaper that do ship with the Anthem. So, but then again, Martin's pricing is so different to other companies, and like I said, $2,000 does kind of fit nicely with their pricing. So I think if you want this guitar and it's a Martin, I get why they went with $2,000, but I'm also frustrated that for $2,000 they didn't put an Anthem in there. That's. Have you got an answer
but
for
there's
that?
no other guitar in the market that has this playability. That's the catch. Somebody on the
Really?
AGF the other day was saying that, hey, for that kind of money, I could get a Yamaha or I can get a Breedlove. You can't get this with those companies, and I don't mind saying that and seeming like a homer. This neck and the neck joint and this playability isn't on anything else. So that's where some of the price comes from. It has to.
All right. Well, again, I haven't played one. Once I've done all these, I got so many videos to do right now. And once I've done all these videos and caught up, I'm going to get one and I'm going to test the playability because I didn't even factor that in. Like to me, it's just like it's easier to play because of the new neck and the light strings, but I haven't actually tried to like solo on one and loop on one and play one all night long. So I can't answer that. If that's the case, then fair enough. But how much is that one you got right now? Is that 14 or 16? The standard one that you've got?
The SC-13E Koa, I
14,
don't
right?
honestly remember.
I think it's around 14.
I think it's 14 and change, yeah.
So I think that is good. And then just thinking back to the new ones, the special editions. Yeah, I guess if you don't really care about the sunburst, I guess this is still a good way to go. I'm trying to think what else is on the special edition I would want. Especially if you're going to change the pickup system anyway, you can still just change it. Now, one reason that I did think it'd be worth me holding out for the special edition is I love the way they have the tuner in the sound hole. Can you show us that tuner in there, please?
Absolutely.
Just tip that bad boy up. We'll see it. There we go. I like this a lot because you can buy these from the aftermarket people, but when you turn that on, it cuts your sound. That is really, really cool. Actually, question, Maury. If you turn that on and unplug, does it not pop? Or does it still pop?
I'm not sure what your question is.
You know when you pull a jack out of most guitars, you get a bang through the PA system?
Yeah.
If that's muted, if that's turned on, do you still get that bang or not? Because it muted the output signal. But then when you pull the jack out, that's going to go off. I don't know. It could be either.
I don't know that either. Should we test it?
We will test it, yeah, later on. But
All right.
that tuner would be enough to make me want to get the special and then upgrade the Anthem and keep the tuner. Because I think when you take that out and put the Anthem in now, you're going to lose the tuner unless you're really clever and can figure out how to wire it back in again, which I wouldn't be able to do. So I thought, great, the Bags one has the tuner still. you know where I'm going with this, right? So I thought,
I think I know.
I thought it's not possible because Fishman said in their promo video for this version, they developed it with Martin for this model. And then I went on to social, which you saw because you're spying on me on social media. And I said to Martin, was it Martin UK, social media? I said, does it have the tuner still? They said, yes, it does. I thought, great, awesome. And then some people are saying it doesn't. And then late last night, our friend Skip Belts, he left a comment on that same thread. Did you see it?
No.
He said, oh, okay, good, you're not spying on me. He said, it was about 2 a.m. in the morning. He said, Aaron, no, he said, that doesn't have the tuner in that one. So I thought, this is impossible. So I go on the Martin website, and I find this. There it is! I said, yes. And like Detective Columbo, I sent an email to Skip Belts, and I said, Skip, just one more thing. I found this picture on your website. Your website! And I thought, great, this is great. And then he replied and said, no, that's a mistake. Yeah, what do you think of that? Have you heard any clarification? This is going to be like the big myth of the week. Like, does it have the tuner or not?
What's the matter with you? Yeah, and
You know you did it. You killed both of them. You're fired. Get out of here. You're crazy. Get him out.
oh, you didn't play it, so you hear that part.
I got the whole video on there, but I'll get copyright strike.
So
sorry. Yeah, so I don't think it does.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
All right.
But it does in the
subject
pictures.
to change.
If you can make
Everything's
some
subject to
calls,
change.
Maury, if you can make some calls and clarify this, I'm happy to be wrong. I want it to have the tuner. It has the tuner on the website pictures. But I think maybe they are like, I'm looking at it right now. Yep. Let me go over again. This is, everyone, this is the kind of thing I do all day long. This is how obsessed I am. That's why I have a channel, so I can... Someone said last week, can you make a video about it so I haven't got to do the research myself? I said, well, yeah, I may as well. That's basically what I do, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here we go. There, see, it's clear as day. You see that? The controls are on the other side. That is the tuner right there in that guitar. So I'm like, there you go. And look, there it is. But like I said, I'm sure that was developed. Fishman said they developed that for their pickup system. So I couldn't believe they'd use it in the Bags one unless they're paying them some kind of royalty. But I think it's weird it doesn't have it because it was such a big thing about the original one you've got there. It was such a big thing. And I really like it. I tried one of those once in a different model. And I love tuners. I'm always tuning my guitars. I always want to be in tune all the time. And I love when it mutes the output as well. I think that's a really clever way of concealing a tuner in a guitar. And I'm disappointed if this special edition doesn't have that. So again, I'm just from talking about this now, I'm actually thinking to myself, I prefer the original version more than the special editions. What is there on the special edition that is... I mean, I like the back a lot. What's the back like on the guitar you've got there?
This is going to be figured Koa veneer.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I like the back on the special. But the only problem is, lately, some of these guitars have nicer looking backs than fronts, and who plays backwards, right? Why don't they put that on the top of the guitar? Because it'll sound terrible. All right. So, yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do in the chat today is tell me, do you own one of these SC-13Es? Do you like it? Did you get one and sell it? Let me know what your experience with it has been. And are you interested in buying one of the new ones? And I'm gonna create a poll as well towards the end to see what everyone's thinking. But I'm getting some good opinions here just from talking about it. We'll hear it in a second as well, believe it or not. We're actually going to play the guitar. There is another one I want to just quickly talk about, though, the SC-10E. So it's interesting. Oh, one more thing. Do consider this with the pricing. The Sitka top is $17.99 and the burst is $19.99. That's quite a lot extra. The only difference is the burst, right, Maury?
Yeah.
So you got to really like that burst to get that one because it is $200 more. So there we go. If you like the classic look, that's closer. The next question is, would you get that over the standard one? Or would you just get the standard one? Interesting stuff. So where's that SC-10E? Here we go. All right, so this is the more stripped back. This is the more affordable version. This is $12.99. But there are quite a lot of differences that would make me want to go for the standard one you have there. It's got the black tuners, which I'm not personally a fan of, but there we go. If you like black tuners, that's cool. And the back here. See, that to me, this whole guitar, I know this is just a picture of one guitar, Maury, but the whole guitar to me just doesn't look as impressive as the SC-13E standard. And the price difference isn't that great, is it? It's like $200.
Yeah, and it's a lot more understated, I think, you know.
Yeah, and it's not gloss though, right? That's interesting. No gloss?
It's a satin guitar, yeah.
Satin, okay. So if you like satin, I've said before that I like satin for some things. If you and we've also said that satin can breathe a bit more too and actually sound bigger. So don't write this one off. Do wait and compare it with the other ones for sure. But just based on the fact that I haven't played them and just looking at it and the price, for me, I think the standard is appealing to me. Actually, now we're doing this, and I'm sitting there doing this with you, Maury. The standard actually sticks out to me more than the new ones. So bear that in mind. And don't think I'm just saying that because Maury has a few of them in stock. I'm not. That's honestly how I feel. I like the idea of the special edition, but if it doesn't have the tuner, and I'd rather have the standard vintage tuners, then why would I get that one? Okay, I like the back a lot, but like I said, how often do you look at the back of the guitar? Ultimately, it does come down to sound, and I hope that Maury gets to do a comparison back to back with them, so he can tell us if the sound is actually affected by the different build. That's obviously very, very important. So along those lines, we should take a little. I think the time has flown. We've just been talking so far. Can you just play a bit for us, please? And then when we come back, we'll do the viewers' comment and catch up on the viewers' comments.
I sure can.
Sounds very good. It does sound very good. Remember, there's 11s on there. There's 11s on. I'm talking about the guitar, not the playing. But remember, that's 11s. Remember, that's 11s on there. Maury's not getting my jokes today. I'm going to get in trouble.
I get it.
I had a thought, but it's gone. Zach says, "Hey, Aaron Short. Good to see you, Zach. How you doing, buddy?" Vic G says, "I completely understand what Maury's saying about the SC-28. If it will end up being 3 times more expensive, it would be very underwhelming if it's not 3 times better than the SC-13. Well, also, the SC-13, I think what you're saying is it's such a new thing. Maybe it just works with those woods. Who's to say that a more expensive one is actually going to sound better? It might just be more of a bragging rights thing, right? So I get it. Taylor is super bright. They are maybe less feedback in mine too. Okay. Taylor sound is focused on a sweet string tone. No boom, no warmth, no low mid growl. Mostly string tone and brightness. I agree. I wouldn't say bright, but I think the ones I've played, they don't resonate as much. And you could argue that's good for on stage. But do you play on stage is the question. I was just thinking, Maury, this is the stuff I think about. I just wish, like, say, Fishman had released a pedal for this guitar, which has IRs made for this pickup in this guitar with the new Aura HD, and then people like me would just buy the pedal, and people that don't care about that stuff would just buy the guitar. For me, I like having everything in the guitar for what I do when I'm out doing gigs regularly, but for me, that's a great compromise. Like, put that in a little box and just sell it to the customer after the fact. I don't think Martin wanted to sell. I don't think Martin wanted to sell pedals, but Fishman could easily do that. They keep saying they're going to bring out like Aura HD in a new kind of format for the aftermarket consumer. If they do that, what a great opportunity to throw their own IRs that they've done in their studio in that pedal and sell the pedals to customers who already have the guitar.
Yeah.
So It's so close. It's so close. Another 6-stringer. Good to see you here. I have one, and I love it. It's incredibly versatile. The 11 strings feel great. Great playability all day long. No compromise on string tension or tone. Great. So, do you work at Martin Guitar? No, I'm just kidding. Thank you.
You're bad.
That's a great. That's always like a catalog quote. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm glad you like it. It makes me happy. Brian Fishkind, and I'm not saying I don't like them. I need to play them. Brian Fishkind says, been having an affair with mine for months now. Oh dear, Brian, I've got a number you can call. Using 12s. Oh, that's the affair. You put 12s. So it used to be you put 12s on a dreadnought. How dare you? Now it's you put 12s on an SC-13E. How dare you? But also find myself going back to my Breedlove J20 and Gibson J200 for the richness and power respectively. Well, there's no one guitar that does everything. So that's why you have multiple affairs. Moving on. Cholarism said even if it was something like Moutenye, not Martin I would prefer solid wood, but Martin seems to be trying to dampen all the feedback causing vibrations. Yeah, if that is their goal, then that's fair enough. The Taylor GT is meant to be a super solid wood GS Mini, but it does not sound better and costs 3 times more. There we go. So the Taylor GS Mini is a guitar that I like. I used to have one, really great guitar. And they now have this GT, which is like the super version. And they're saying it doesn't sound 3 times better, but it's 3 times the price. So that backs up your argument from earlier, Maury. I've been considering getting one of the SJ200 standards recently, says Ryan. That's good. I have a J150. Old W30. I was curious if the inside is veneered also. Is the inside veneer?
Yes.
No.
Yep.
It is? Okay. Jim says, I don't play good enough to warrant my name on the fretboard. Neither do I, but I still want it. Old says, the neck opens up possibility of different neck shapes. Just buy a mod V-neck and swap it out. Great point. Someone actually asked that at NAMM. Or was it on one of our streams with Skip? Someone said, can you do that in the future? Like you could sell a neck.
Yeah.
You could sell a neck with Evo fret wire and you just get the neck and stick it on. I did that the other day. I took the neck off a guitar that I was going to go outside and use steel wool on it so the steel wool wouldn't go everywhere. I took the neck off and I just carried it outside. I thought to myself, this is great. If you're flying, you just take the neck off your guitar and fly with the guitar in 2 pieces. So I don't think that's Martin's aim, but they could do it. They could sell different necks and you just bolt on the neck you want. Not well, I shouldn't say bolt on. It's not a bolt on. David Belcher says, weren't these designed with the ability to buy a different neck shape in the future and change it out yourself? I don't think they were designed for that, but we're saying that could be a possibility. You could do that down the line. I don't think they said that, David. If you find that information, please send it over. What if John Mayer asks this neck joint for his next OMJ? Oh, just wait. Just you wait. You'll be buying a D45 with this neck soon, Kooky. We're on the same wave today, Olds. Jack says the plugged-in sound is always going to be more important than the unplugged sound. Designed for the stage, and I think that's great. Yeah, they've got a tough one here, though, because I think they're trying to do both. Like I said earlier, they're trying to say, look, this sounds great unplugged, it's a Martin sound, and it's designed for the stage as well. That's a tall order. More from GraphTech. You get fine tuning on the thicker core strings and coarser tuning on the thinner core. Anywhere. Okay, so the ratios are actually different. Okay, so they're not all the same. They're not all high ratio. They're all different. So when you turn one of them a full turn and the other one's a full turn, they all turn the same. Right. Which is clever. Which is very clever. But then, like I said, on some strings you will notice it takes longer to restring. So the high E is 39 turns for 1 rotation. You see? That's quite a lot. I like the butterbean knobs over the skeleton. I'm a plain Jane kind of guy. Well, they have that modern look. And the guitar is kind of a modern looking guitar. So I don't mind it. But I also am a fan of the vintage tuners. Nice job with the burst. I agree. Will this burst appear on other guitars? That's a question. I like the Grover, like on my D35. Most don't, but I do. Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, I like the vintage tuners, open tuners, but that's good that you like those. I switched to Grover open back on my D15, and they are fine. couldn't you just run the Spectrum? This is my point, Thomas Moore. The Spectrum DI is still a great pedal, but there's nothing in there that would suit this pickup and body shape. If only Fishman would take this into their studio and make some new Aura images with the HD, and then allow us to download them. If you purchase the guitar, maybe put a download code or something, you can download them and put them onto that pedal.
Yeah.
That'd be a great way out of this situation. Yeah, because now I think about it, they probably won't ever put a mic or a body sensor on these guitars because it will add to the feedback. Aura HD is a great way to go. Or whatever bags end up making the voice print DI into. I'm sure they'll keep developing it. But Aura HD would be a great way to go. Just sell a little pedal as an accessory.
Yeah.
The bags element is a significant upgrade over the... Oh, you don't like the Sonicor, David? Sonicor isn't great. Element is probably... Yeah, I might agree with you. It's a bit better. But for me, I wouldn't really be that happy with either of them, I feel. I like the Element as part of the Anthem. But I do like the Gold Plus. But I'm sure the Gold Plus costs... No, there's two things with those Gold Plus pickups and the Matrix pickups, Maury. They cost more to make. They're also more delicate because the Sonicor and the Element are both made of that soft braid, like you said. They don't break. Like the Fishman Matrix, if you're not careful, you can just break it apart where it's soldered together on the pickup and the wire. And with these ones, they're just one piece of soft braid cable, so they're much easier to throw in there and and move it on. So and more consistent probably too. So they're less fragile. Let's just say. I know some people had issues with the Matrix and the Acoustasonics because they're quite fragile. Oh. So that's why. And actually, the new Acoustasonic uses the Sonotone as well, and that's probably why. It's all making sense. It's all making sense. It's also a cheaper guitar. And hey, they did it too. They started with the $2,000 Acoustasonic, and now they have the $1,200 Acoustasonic. So there you go. They went from expensive to affordable.
See?
Thomas Moore says, you don't need it, Aaron. Your colorway Martin sounds fantastic. Stop while you can. I know, Thomas. I'm very happy with the GPC. Like I said, the colorway on GPC isn't that great for accessing the upper frets, but I like the kind of classic looks of it. I like the fact it's a 28 style instrument. But I can't ignore the SC-13E because it is such a hot guitar. So, you know how it goes on YouTube. Would I replace my gigging guitar, which is the GPC 28, with a SC-13E with an Anthem in it? Can't answer that question. Maybe I would. Is the Mon Deluxe neck the same as the SC-13? So the SC-13E neck is a unique neck, right, Maury?
Yeah, they're very similar, but I wouldn't say they're the same thing.
So is that neck as thin as the Modern Deluxe?
Nope.
Okay, because
exactly.
I find that one a bit too thin, so that's good. Oh, Jim said SC-13E is 1600. My bad, 1600. So special edition is 200 more, and then burst is 200 more again. And the 10E is 13. So the 10E is $300 cheaper. I don't know. I'm just suddenly lost a lot of interest in the new ones. I'm thinking more about the standard one.
Well, let me ask you this, Aaron, as a back and forth. If you never heard about the SC-13E until today, and now you heard about all four of them together, does that change your attitude about any of this argument? You know, if you're discovering all four at the same time.
Well, I want people in the chat to tell me what they think, but I think, and I'm just talking very off the cuff and openly here, I love the new burst they've done, but I think $200 more for the burst when I'm also a big fan of plain tops is kind of a no for me. And then the fact that the other one is 200 more than the standard with the plain top, but I'm not a huge fan of the tuners. I don't consider the pickup to be a huge upgrade, especially when I would probably switch it out anyway. Kind of writes that one off, which brings me to this one that you've got there, which I think is 1600. I think that's good. And then the 10E is more affordable by 300, which is a lot of money. But to me, that makes too many sacrifices in my mind. I'm not saying this is my opinion. They've taken the gloss away. They've changed the tuners. They've changed the pick guard. I think they've changed the pick guard. They've changed a lot of things on that 10E to save you the $300. And if you only want to spend $1,300, or you can spend, that's great. But I think the one you have there is still the sweet spot in the lineup. Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because Maury has them in stock before anyone says it. That's just that's just the conclusion I've come to. That's just.
But I do think it's wrong to assume that everybody fell in love with the 13, and now we have to look at these new 3. A lot of people might find out about this one at the same time. So,
Right, it's raising awareness of the original model and showing that off too. I mean, all this, it's all business, isn't it? All this stuff is thought through, I'm sure. But all I'm offering, again, I haven't played them. All I'm offering is my opinion based on the money and the looks. I think this one is a good sweet spot still. So, there we go. But I'd love to compare them all back to back. Image Bearer, how you doing? Wait, the sound hole tuner is something you buy separately. So other companies make these and you put it in the sound hole. The thing is though, it's not stuck to the sound hole, so you can still see it over the lip of the sound hole there. And it doesn't mute the output, and the battery is inside the tuner. So you're gonna have to take that tuner out and then change the battery in the tuner. There's also tuners that go on the back of the headstock. You take a tuner off, the actual tuner on the back of the headstock, you take it off and you put a tuner into that screw and it sits on the back of your headstock. That's a really good way to go as well. But again, it won't mute the output. I really like the design of this tuner. And again, Maury, the fact that we now know this isn't on this, yeah, it's crazy, right? That something like that feature would make me go towards the special edition. But I tell you what, if it's not on the special edition, that's one of the factors that would push me to that model. That puts me back to this one again, because suddenly I've got the tuners I want. I'm talking really off the cuff for everyone. Please don't take this as please don't. Thank goodness we're not live on the internet right now, and everyone's got a record of me saying this. I prefer the traditional vintage tuners, right? I like the tuner. Why would I go for the one that costs $200 more? And why would I go 200 more than that if I don't absolutely love that sunburst? So
yeah.
And to me, the SC-10E has too many changes that I don't like, so that's where I come to. Now, this is a great time to do this. I'm going to do a poll. I'm going to make a poll while Maury plays again, and then we're going to do our viewers' comment while you're doing the poll. The poll is going to be, do you have no interest in this model at all? Do you own this model? Are you interested in getting one? Am I missing an option here? No, that's fine. And if you say you're interested in getting one, let me know in the chat which one you would get out of the 4 of them. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do that poll. Okay, so let me just create a poll. Okay, I really should have planned this before, Maury. Would you get... Excuse my English here. So would you get none of them? I own one already, or I want to get one. It's terrible. Okay. All right, the poll is posted. In fact, no, let's go. I apologize. What I wanted to do there, Maury, was you just played before. I wanted you to use that tuner to see if you were in tune. I noticed you were tuning by ear. I was going to get you to check your tuning. I forgot to do it. And don't lie. All right, the poll is live. Please put your answers in the poll. And Jim has a question. All right, but I promised I would do viewers' comment this week. I promised that I would do this to Bunny Barnes. Viewers' comments are back. Awesome. And here it is. Oh, she's gone. Bunny, where are you? There we go. So look, this is what you call a viewer's comment. A document, typed out, photographs added. Thank you, Bunny Barnes. And also check out her YouTube channel because she's a great fingerstyle player. And I mostly know her for playing Maton guitars because she's got some Maton. She's got the little mini Maton that I used to gig with for years, and she's got a larger one too. But she's also got a Martin. So this is her Martin story right here. I'll just read it out for us. I used to play this guitar a lot and use it as my travel guitar. But at one of Tommy's camps, that's Tommy Emmanuel, I had Tommy, Richard Smith, Frank Vignola, and Vinnie Raniolo sign it. Now, Maury has his guitar signed as well. Now I take it with me to concerts and have other major guitarists sign it. Oh, that's why you haven't asked me to sign it. Just kidding. Just kidding. Now I take... Okay. The first picture shows the main body of the guitar. There's one signature I can't place and would be curious if any of your listeners can recognize this signature. Oh, this is great. Okay. This is great. So Bunny is also looking for assistance with identifying a signature that she doesn't remember getting. This is cool. So the first picture there is her with that said guitar. That's cool. And then that is the signature. Now, hang on. Spoon Phillips. No, just kidding.
That's gold.
I have no idea. Oh, hey, I'm not saying he shouldn't be on there. He should. I don't know if she knows Spoon. Do you recognize that signature? Can you take a guess as to what that name is?
I'm looking at a monitor really far away from me, so I'm
Okay.
having a hard time. I can't be critical of that signature. I don't recognize it.
I'm looking at a monitor really close, and I can't make it out at all. So sorry, buddy. But let's leave this up there for a few seconds. If you're watching and you know that signature, please let us know whose signature that is, because Bunny would be really appreciative of that. There she is with the guitar, pre-signature.
Wow.
I guess you could call this a signature model. All right.
Man.
So there she is with it, playing the guitar. The second... Oh, no, sorry. This is a different guitar. Okay. The second guitar is my other Martin 018 from 1962. Why didn't you start with that one? 1962 018. I'm the second owner. It plays beautifully. I had a friend who worked at Martin take it in for me, and he worked on the action. Very smooth and easy. Except the prior owner must have worn a belt buckle. Who would do that? And scratch the heck out of the back. This was Elvis's guitar! You can see the scratches in the second picture. It's a lovely vintage guitar. It could be. He used to wear that big old belt buckle. Okay, here are the people that have signed the Baby Martin. Tommy Emmanuel, Richard Smith, Frank Vignola, Vinnie Raniolo. I'll just read through some that I recognize here. Oh, Tom Bresh, cool. John Knowles, Lawrence Juba, John Standifer, nice guy. Parker Hastings, Molly Tuttle, Joe Robinson, Maury Rutch, Martin Taylor, Jerry Douglas, Leo Kottke.
Wow.
No, I'm looking for Jackson Brown. No, sorry, not there. Wow, that's so cool. Really cool. Yeah, Maury has signatures inside the guitar. Yes, Bunny, thank you. And I tell you what, Bunny, maybe you could play a non-copyrighted song on your 018 vintage and send me a video and we'll play it on one of the future shows. If you're watching,
yes,
that would be really great. So I'll give you a round of applause. That's great. And once again, if you have a viewer's comment, please send them to sayhi@aaronshortmusic.com, because if you don't, you're going to get the guitar head again. Here's the address on the screen. Thank you, everybody. That was awesome. Thank you for that. I love when there's a cool story as well. I love when there's a story. I bought it used and I had it redone and I've used it for this and that. All right, let's go through some comments here. David Belcher, my SC has about 1,000 hours of the tone right. So David is a fan of the tone right.
Ah.
And he's been running that on it. That's interesting. Has noticeably more bass and mid-range. It's louder unplugged. Sounds a lot like an OM. Wow.
Ooh,
there's a test I'd like to try.
That's a good story.
Yeah. I also switched the strings to nickel bronze 12 to 52, balanced set, and added titanium bridge pins. It holds its own unplugged, playing with dreadnoughts and OMs. Wow. Okay. I mean, I got to say, going up to 12s is going to make a noticeable difference to me. And those bridge pins do add bass, I found, when I reviewed them. So I can see that. Not sure about the old tone right yet. I've yet to try that. But that actually would be a great guitar to try it on. Jim says, the Dario PWCT15 NS Micro Soundhole tuner. Do you sell those, Maury? The Soundhole tuners?
I don't know about that model name, but I know we sell a variant of them, yes.
I use those as well, Jim. Quite like them. Interesting, very affordable too. Thanks, Jim. Not really interested until I play them. I agree, Thomas. I agree. Steve Smith. Hello, Aaron Maury. The guitar looks and sounds amazing. Have a great afternoon. Don't you say that to all the Martin guitars, Steve? Thomas Moore says, I'd say they're competing with the Taylor 214CE, but have the unique neck. Yeah, but I think the Taylor's $1,000. Thomas Moore says, sounds pretty good, a bit bright. Jim says the 10E is 500 less than the 13E Natural and 700 less than the Burst. To me, that's a lot of coin difference. No, it was I think I closed the page. I don't think it was that much. Was it that much of a difference? The 10E is 13. The standard one is 16, right?
16.
So it's 300 difference. Yeah, not 500 difference. Well, you mean the special. Yeah, the special natural. That's a big difference. Yeah, I guess it depends which way you look at it, which one you compare to the other. Yeah, the 10E compared to the $2,000 special is a big difference, of course. That's $700. I still think this standard one fits nicely in the middle. Mike says, it says the SC-10E is ebony. Yeah, I saw lots of differences when I looked at that one in the specs. Steve says definitely not a D18. Well, I wouldn't expect it to be. I mean, I wouldn't even say an OM28 sounds like a D18. Yeah, it's just How does the sound hole smell? Great point. Let's do that right now. It's not going to smell like a 28 series, I know.
It smells like 15 less than a 28.
Yeah, it smells a bit like an S shape. Jim says, hey Brian, is that an Emerald 12 string in your profile picture? Please tell us about it. Victory says, when Maury was playing, were we hearing the guitar acoustically through the mic in front or through the pickup? Vic, if that was the pickup, I'd be selling everything and buying one right now. My button, I'd leave the stream and I'd be ordering right now. That was through the microphone.
Fair question. That was the mic.
Oh, have you got that? Have you got a cable plugged in? Can we hear it plugged in?
I could try.
That'd be cool.
Mike says, "Fish." Leaving my post to get a cable.
Yeah, go grab one, and I'll keep doing the chat. Mike says Fishman does not have enough IRs in their catalog. Honestly, they need to continue to add stuff. I agree, Mike. I really like the Aura system and the pedal and everything. I wish they'd make a new Aura pedal with the material they use on their EQ pedal, because the Aura pedal is quite heavy. The new EQ pedal is much lighter. And I wish they would allow us to have more images on the library. I want to see HD images, and I want to see the ability to make our own and also their own as well. I don't understand why there isn't an SC-13 Aura image available right now. That would be really cool. Beamer said, how do they sniff? And the answer is not like a 28, not like a D18. Brian says, I'd love to respond to your question, but not sure how to respond to you, and don't wish to hijack Aaron and Maury show. You can, I just won't read it out. If it's completely unrelated to the stream, I'll just skip it, Brian, so don't worry about chatting between yourselves. Bimo says, burst may be worth it if it smells better. Of course, you're right, Bimo. It's worth the extra hundreds of dollars for the smell alone, of course. Jim says, I'd like to hear you two discuss why pay $2,000. Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to bring that up to Maury in a second. Image Bearer says, I would go the 10E route. I'm a strumming singer, but a lead acoustic like this would be nice to have. I dig the black open tuners too. Okay, doesn't this thing take distortion well? Supposedly it does. Supposedly it does. Got me interested in that now. Remember I reviewed, if you haven't seen it, I reviewed the Fender Smolder distortion pedal a while ago for Fender. That was really cool. That would be great, a great pairing with this. Signature could be Clapton, says Bimo. Steve is not a fan of the cutaway models. Yeah, a lot of people don't like cutaways. Whoa! Whoa, turn it down. Turn it down. You're clipping. That's better. That's better. That's better.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I thought you were trying it through the Mesa Boogie. If Tone Right opens it up, a VTS top might help the thin sound people hear. I really think the strings are a lot to do with that. I really do. Like, I was just thinking the other day on my Strat, I got a Strat with 10s and a Strat with 9s, and the 10s sound so much fuller. but they're so much harder to play than the 9s for me. Like the 9s are so easy to, you know, those they call them boomer bends now. I would say Gilmore bends. You know, you do those big bends on those strings. It's so much easier, but you definitely lose a lot of tone, I think, especially on a clean sound. Maury, don't sniff too hard. The veneer glue might get you. Mean, so mean. Right, I've got a good question we should discuss. Before we do that, let's just hear this thing plugged in then. Let's go through the pickup.
All right.
Let's try that tuner out. I'm so mean. This is the one demo that cannot be out of tune because you have a tuner in the sound hole. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. My hand slipped. My hand slipped. Apologies.
Oh, not at all.
Not that rude. In fact, my hand slipped. It sounds pretty good plugged in. It's not as quacky as I thought it would be. At all. So I take it back. I don't think that the Element's going to sound that much better than that either. I think that sounds good. You've just gone straight in, right? No magic tricks there, right?
A little bit of reverb and delay, but honestly, no more than my mics have when I'm playing.
I thought you were going to say a little bit of IR and voice print DI.
just a taste, yeah.
Yeah, Vic, I agree, Vic. That sounds really good. It doesn't have like a ton of quack. You know, PRS just released a new SE, and it's the same basically the same pickup, but they took it to Fishman and had. It's really interesting. It was on their thing they did last week on their live stream. They recorded the guitar with a mic, like you're making an IR, and the pickup. And Paul Reed Smith compared the two and made notes about the EQs. And he did what I do. He sat there on the computer and changed the EQ and found out where he likes it. And he had Fishman bake that into the pickup. So they've actually made a custom sonotone.
Oh.
But I'll say this, and you know. They're saying that sounds like a mic. I don't think it sounds like a mic. I don't think it sounds much better than this. I think it's just basically EQ. I don't know how they're doing it, if that affects the battery life or anything with that one. But I think just for a straight up plugged in underseller pickup, that sounds really good. I mean, now what are the controls? Is there volume and tone or just volume?
A volume and tone, yeah.
And where was the tone set? Was that like all the way off? Because it sounded really warm.
It was, if there's 4 turns, it was like on turn 2, so it was.
Okay.
It wasn't near midway, but it wasn't at an extreme.
Okay, yeah, I'm telling you, that through a good IR would be awesome.
Did
really
you still want to hear if the tuner mutes the pop
I
sound?
do. I was about to ask that. Can you put the tuner on so it's muted, and then quickly pull the jack cable out? Everyone watch out. It might be loud if it doesn't work. Ah, still did it. Maybe jump. Yeah, because what happens is it's muted it, but as you pull it out, it turns off the tuner and it still makes the noise. So don't do that. There's only one company that figured that out. It's Cole Clark. On a Cole Clark, you can do that, and it cuts off the circuit, and there's no noise.
Oh,
and
really?
they're the only company that have done it. Can you believe that?
That's weird.
Lewis says, one day I'll get one. Image bearer says, oh, I'm glad we did that, because now it saves you having to do that at your next gig. So remember, don't do that. Great experiment. It is. It would have been cool if that worked. All right, we have a good question. Our final question from Jim. He'd like us to discuss, why would you pay $2,000 for a laminated guitar? He's talking about the special with the burst. When for $1,300 you can get an all-solid Rhodes series like the 0013E. That's a great question for Maury. Like, if a customer asked you that, why should I get that one when I can get that one with the all-solid wood?
Well, my first answer would be because of this playability. The 13E, the 0013E does not have this neck joint, the heelless design. So that alone, and when I say that, I don't just mean that it's more comfortable up here. This guitar is more comfortable to play everywhere when compared to a 0013E. So there's that reason. And then I would ask the customer, are you going to be primarily or completely only playing plugged in? Because if you are, then the laminated back and sides aren't necessarily a downside at all. If those two questions don't really help you with your answer, then maybe you make a lot of sense to go to the 0013E if you're playing mostly acoustically and you don't need or want the benefits of how this plays. You could make the argument that on paper at least, and that'd be a good comparison video, a 0013E should be more resonant acoustically in the room than the SC-13E, but I'm not going to be on camera now telling you that is a fact. But what a great question that really is, honestly.
And remember, comparing gear, I do it all the time. It drives me crazy. It's very hard to compare two things. I do agree with Maury on that. Like this guitar is almost incomparable because it's so different. You know?
Yeah.
It's well, at least compared to the one he said, it's a different instrument. So yeah, while that might be solid wood, this one has all these innovations and R&D. I say the same thing to people about the Acoustasonic. They say, why is that $2,000? And I say, well, think about all the R&D that went into that guitar for a start, and all the new technology they had to develop to do it. I'm not making excuses. I still think, when I saw, I didn't like the marketing they released when it said something big is coming, because to me, I got disappointed, Maury, because I thought big meant a big guitar or a big thing. Like, I thought it meant like the 42 model, the 20, like I thought it meant a 28 or 42. I thought it meant a bigger body. When they announced these, I felt a bit deflated because I was like, well, I don't understand. I can't put those two things together. I didn't like that. I would have said something special is coming.
Yeah, and that's the marketing thing, and I don't pretend to know, but they have to make it attractive enough to get your attention, but not more attractive than that. Like I'm sure that's a tough job. I wouldn't want it. I really wouldn't. Something average is coming. It's like, who cares? But no, I don't know. I think that's really, really tricky. You got to get everybody really, really excited, but not any more excited than that. And it's who knows.
Because I just think the word big was just strange to me. And yeah, you're right. Because if you underhype it, you're underselling your product. And if you overhype it, you're going to annoy people. I was going to say something else. You're going to annoy people. So I get it. But of course, with someone like me, because I'm so waiting for like a 28 version with a new pickup system, and then you get these. Of course, the first reaction is, where's the one? But then think about it. The NAMM week last week was really fun and cool, and you did get the Silver Sky, which is great. You got the new Martins. You didn't get a ton of new stuff, and you didn't get anything like really big, because I think they're all saving these things for June, because in June they're having the physical event where they want people to actually hold these new ones in their hand and say, Look, check this out. So I think we were never going to get that much stuff this week anyway, and it turns out we didn't. I got excited because of the PRS thing and all that. So I thought we were going to see a lot more gear last week, and the whole thing just kind of passed by. But I think June will be the focus. Having said that, I don't think they'll release like a 28 kind of style one in June, because these probably won't ship until around May at the earliest, I'm guessing. So why would they then release another one in June? I'm guessing we'll see higher end versions of these maybe next year or later. And that's why, like with computers, like, don't wait, Life is short. Like if you want the guitar, it's getting like I started the show with. It's getting like Apple, isn't it? It's like, oh, I'll wait for the 28 and maybe it'll have a new pickup. Maybe Martin will have a new pickup next year. Well, you know what? Yeah. So I'm not. Again, I never want to sound like a shill because I'm really not. I am independent. My thoughts are my own.
Of course.
No, but I people might think that I'm not. I'm not. You know, I'm not working for Martin. I'm not trying to sell. I mean, like I said, Maury's got these in stock, and if you want to get one, you should give him a call. But I'm not doing this to push them because he's got them. That's my honest thoughts. And my biggest frustration really is with, you know, I mean, it's great that Kookie's making IRs for people and pushing all that, and I'm so happy he's doing that. But I always get frustrated that it's now 2022, and why can't I just get that pedal that makes this ready to go? That's my biggest complaint, I think. But that might happen because I've heard that Aura HD is coming. It might happen that we can do that ourselves, and that will change the whole game, I think. Because at that point, it takes all that stuff out of the equation for a lot of people. Sure. So maybe that will come at Summer NAMM, and that will coincide really nicely. And we'll see. Again, I haven't tried that, so I tried it on the Modern Deluxe, but I haven't tried like that new thing that will be coming. And it's dangerous to think just because something new is coming, it's better or going to be good. We always have to try stuff first. That's why I like to make the videos. All right, so he said, for a direct signal, it sounds better than I thought it would. I felt the same way. Image Bearer says, LOL, great experiment. No, he means the pop. Yeah, sorry about that. Nothing worse than when you're at a gig and you... Well, I don't think I've done that in a long time because I have like a tuner on the floor that mutes the signal. But if you ever done that, you know how embarrassing it is because everyone does this. Oh, if you get feedback, everyone does this. Oh, what are you doing? Turn it down.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the night, you've messed up because you're going to have to turn down because they're going to assume it's going to happen again. And they'll keep asking you to turn it down. So don't ever do that. So yeah, I love having the tuner on the floor anyway. But if you're around the house and have the tuner in the sound hole, that's a nice thing to have. So I'll just finish these comments and we'll call it a day. There are cables that cut the signal. Yes, I used to use those BMO, but they failed on me because they had like a sheath around the cable. Sometimes it wouldn't work, so I couldn't trust doing it anyway. And eventually it got corrosion underneath that hood and it stopped working. It was a Megami, very expensive cable. So I don't use them anymore. I just use regular cables now. Yeah, for me, it's just like another thing that could go wrong. Unless, I'm sure there might be other versions that do work, but in my experience, I'm just like, keep it simple. Old says, I thought the SC-13 was solid hog with Koa veneer and not laminated. Well, technically it's not laminate, right?
Well, it's a solid mahogany core. It's a technical term. I think it's called Kaya, which is in the mahogany family. So it's a solid piece of Kaya mahogany sandwiched by two veneers of Koa. So the outside and the inside of the back and sides are Koa. So the Koa is the reflective wood. And the center of that core is solid mahogany, but it's really a really gray area to say the word solid here. It's not like a regular laminated guitar that has really cheap plywood going in one grain direction and then another piece on top like this, and the inside of the guitar is junk. It's not that, but I'm hesitant to use the word solid just because the core, it's like there's a solid piece of Kaya in between laminated veneers of Koa, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that right.
It's
tricky.
Jim says the X series with Sitka top sounds good too, at least when Spoon Phillips plays them. Well, everything sounds good when he plays them. Big letdown. About what, BMO? Oh, about the announcement. Yeah, I was disappointed. I looking back, I understand why they didn't. And I'm a gear fan. I get too carried away when things are announced and hinted at. And I've been, that can be a problem with all gear because sometimes you get a new pedals announced and you get all into the hype, and then it's just not as good as the one you could get 5 years ago. So how many times has that happened? But it's just there. Olds, what is the difference between laminated and veneer? And Brian says the survey tells me many folks are missing out on the uniqueness, ease, and playability of this guitar. Yeah, I do think I think when a company like Fender or Martin or Gibson release something that's this unique, a lot of people, it goes right under their radar. And I understand why, because I'm so traditional myself. But if you do play it and you find it incredibly easy to play and allows you to do things you couldn't do, then you shouldn't miss out on that. And it's interesting because I hadn't thought about that until Maury said that today. So even all the videos and the marketing I've seen, I hadn't thought about that really until Maury said it. So there you go. Maybe people just need to play them more. Bimo says, as was stated, nothing really to get excited about. No new Aura Plus. No, but it is coming. It is coming. Am I going to June NAMM? Well, I really want to, but I really want to. Just I got to justify it. The problem with June NAMM is it's like when weddings will be starting up, and I might get a wedding that weekend. It's going to be really hot. It's going to be more expensive to fly in June. I'm not complaining about it, but it's just a fact. It's going to be more expensive to fly in June. Disney is in Anaheim, so everyone's going to be booking the hotels up, which will put the price of the hotels up. So I think I'm trying to keep it free unless a really good like wedding comes in, and then if it gets like a couple of months before and I hear some companies are going and hear some cool stuff might be coming, I'll try to go. Even I find it harder to justify going now, Maury, because we are so virtual. Like we can do this. We don't. Yeah. I want to go. I really want to go to see the people as much as the stuff. But I'd have to finance it myself, and I can cover all the gear that's released like this. So we just covered the guitar, right? Okay, we haven't played them, which is obviously not good. You need to play the gear. You can't just be your thoughts on it. But you can do a lot now virtually without all that additional travel and expense. Having said that, I love going to Anaheim. I'd love to travel. So yeah, I'll see how things are closer to the time. If I do go, I'll definitely take a better rig this time and do more streams and videos. Because that last Summer NAMM trip with Maury, I messed up because I did some good video, but my audio sucked. So now I have the new Rode mics, the wireless mics. I'll definitely take those. So that'll be good. Lewis says, Aaron, do you have a certain wood that you love just by the scent? Well, I really like the smell of the OMJM and the Standard Series Martins a lot. I think they have a nice smell. That's where the Sandhorn sniffer thing came from, I think, Lewis. Vic G says, don't most pedal tuners cut the signal when you're tuning? Exactly, yeah. You can have it so they do or they don't. I always use the ones that do. So it mutes the signal, you tune. There's nothing worse than hearing bum, 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 bum. Now, Maury, do you have a pedal tuner at your gigs, or do you tune like that?
I don't know why I knew you were going to ask me that, because I'm sort of known as the guy in the band that even when I'm in tune, right before a song, I might just do this, like just to double check the E and the A, and I get the bass players like.
Okay, good to know.
So I'm that guy. Yeah, I do use a tuner, but I'm that guy.
I'm not calling you for the next gig. Sorry.
I don't mean to do that, but I'm that guy.
All bass players do that. Bass players refuse to use a tuner pedal because the bass tends to stay in tune well because of the whole, the fact it's a bass. But whenever I play with one here in New York, they always like, can you give me an E? And then they're tuning. And to be fair, they're always perfectly in tune. I'm not saying they can't tune by ear. And some people, I think Eddie Van Halen used to tune by ear. Like he preferred it. I think you can tune it by ear better than a tuner. But I just, when I'm doing a band gig, I don't want it like a cover band gig. I don't want to hear like some of the back go like do 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 do.
I'm guilty. I know it's not good. Like I'm not trying to say that it should be,
But what you need is an SC-13E with a built-in Sandhorn tuner that mutes the signal. And then you'll go to see Maury. He'll have that guitar, and he still do it by ear anyway, even though he's got the tuner in there.
Well, you'll see my band is the best. My bass player also plays keys, so he'll go on his keyboard, bang, and on his bass, bang, and he's bang, 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 checking the keyboard with the bass. So if the bass isn't loud enough, yeah, it's not just me.
Laminate structure is dependent on layers, while veneer is not. Usually part of the structural integrity. Thank you, Olds. And Lewis wants the 13 because of the number. I love it. All right, one more question, and I'll let you all go. Solo Man, this is a very good question. Let's see what Maury says about this. How does the SC-13E feel and sound to you on its own unplugged? Does it have that emotional something that would draw you back to play it for hours? Thank you.
I'll answer the second part of the question. Yes, it is an emotional connection, but that's the playability of it. I'll be completely honest with you because I've been honest every time I'm on this show. It does not have that, oh my God, I've got to hear more of this. It's very pleasing, but like I could pick up an HD28 or something mostly Dreadnought, if I'm being honest, and that's the sound grabs me, but the playability grabs me more than the tone does, and unplugged. I'm just being honest.
It's very hard to have both with an instrument, and I think the player. That's why I think more people need to play these in person. I think if it's a sound that pleases you enough, and then you've got that playability that comes with it, that's great. Like I said earlier, from doing all these gear reviews and things, there is no one piece of gear or one guitar that just ticks all the boxes. I've looked for it. I've looked for the guitar that sounds amazing plugged in, amazing unplugged, sounds big, sounds small, it's just physically impossible, and you end up going down a rabbit hole. So I think if you're shopping for a Martin, maybe this wouldn't be your first one, and that's fine. But if you're going to be playing leads or on stage, or you want something more modern, then this is worth looking at. Or even as your second guitar, where you leave the D45 at home and you take this one out with you. I think that's why you look at this. And I think for me, absolutely honestly, it would be like, it's that whole test, isn't it? You get a guitar and you strum an open chord on it, like usually an E or a G, and you just think to yourself, is that good enough? That doesn't sound right. Is it good enough? Like, does it tick the box or not? And I think I've done that with all kinds of guitars. And it would be interesting to compare that to other. Yeah, I don't think I almost said to Maury, let's compare it to your OM28. That would only be to get a sonic reference. I don't think it's fair on this guitar to do that, even because of the strings on it. But I do think it sounded good when you played it through the mic. And I think that it'd be more interesting to compare this to other guitars of this style, rather than like I would never compare this to a D45, right? But I would compare this to other modern guitars with the cutaway, the pickup, and the comfort and everything else. Yeah, interesting. Lewis says, I enjoy these talks, even though I don't know much about the guitars. I enjoy the energy. Oh, yes, thank you. Did I miss the poll? No, we'll finish with the poll right now. You're terrible to leave and not give the results, wouldn't it? Lewis wants the Harley Benton. You can have mine, Lewis. Just kidding. Old says SC-13E is a pleasing sound that is not tiring, but it's not an OM28. Okay. We shall research more. Once I've played one more, I'll give you my opinion too. Thank you for your answering. Your perspective sounds good. Yeah, I like the honest answer, Maury. It's great. Good stuff. So we're going to finish with the poll. And the questions were, are you going to buy one? Are you not going to buy one? Or do you own one already? What do you think got the most answers, Maury?
Probably not going to buy one if I know the chat.
Okay, I just ended it. 1 second, it'll pop up.
I don't think a lot of people own this yet.
I do. When they announced it was so kind of controversial, and I've mostly seen people buy them and like them more than people buy them and say they didn't like them or sold them. That's really what I'm basing a lot of my thoughts on. Okay, what would you... Oh, you're right. Congratulations. What would you get? None of them. 63%. I want to get one. 26%. And I own one already. 10%. So there you go. And then we're going to finish now. But I think the question for me would be, if you want to get one, which one would you get? And I'm interested to see people that said you're not going to get any of them. Have you actually played one? So I tell you what, if you've got time tonight, you can put that in the comments for me of the video. That'd be great.
Yes.
This is all interesting research for me as well for my channel. All right, that was a cool episode. I enjoyed that. I've done a video on this. Maury's done a video on this with Spoon. This is our third one, so thanks for coming along for the ride a third time. Probably won't talk about this again next week, unless Maury has some that we can check out on the channel. I don't know yet. Next week, though, we might have for everyone that's stuck around to the end, we might have a big announcement next week. But we're not going to announce it in case something doesn't work out. So if we don't announce something next week, it didn't work out, and you can just feel sorry for us. And if you're here next week, we might have a huge announcement, which I think everyone's going to absolutely go crazy about. So I'll just leave you that excitement. I think
something big.
Really cool. It's big. Oh, yeah.
See?
No, but I guess it's all relative. To me, the announcement is huge. So I guess it's all relative. Maybe with the guitar, I was like, I wanted what I wanted and I didn't get it, right? Maybe to some people that was a big announcement. Oh dear, that's funny. I'm gonna make a fly for next week. Something big is coming. It's Aaron Short.
Regular size is coming.
Well, I am big. I'm 6'5", so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Everyone, thanks for being here as always. The show's nothing without you. The chat and your thoughts are really what this is all about. Thanks to Rosanna for moderating. And thanks for Lee for being at work today. So Rosanna can moderate. And I'm just kidding. I know Rosanna works hard too. Soundhole Sniffers, you want to support the channel? Go and buy a Soundhole Sniffer mug or t-shirt if you haven't already. If you already have, go and buy another one. Then I can go to Summer NAMM. That'd be great. Thank you. All right. Lewis says bye. Yep, bye everyone. Thank you. Maury, quick rundown of your schedule this week. Same as always.
Yep, podcast Tuesday, virtual tour Wednesday, and maybe Martin versus Martin Thursday. Stay tuned. We're not sure.
Okay, and definitely tune in next week because it's going to be, if it works out, you're all going to go crazy. It's something really big. Something big is coming. All right. Maury, play us out, please. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.